All right, everyone. I'm recording this on my phone. So what I'll do is I will load it up onto YouTube, and then I'll put a link on YouTube from Moodle. I'll put a link to the YouTube on our Moodle site, so you can get a bit of look at it again. So thank you all for coming. Certainly, from what I see around me, you all did really well, and it's lovely to see all of these models. So let me just start by going through the grading rubric, which is now on the Moodle. So basically, we will be looking at three different aspects of the models, and each of them will have equal grades. The first one will be the quality of the abstraction. The second one will be the quality of the model, and the third one will be the response to the model limits. Okay, so they're all equal. So if you can do not so well in one and do really well in another. There's always an opportunity to get things back. All right. So this and the next two models will be along the same lines, along the same rubric. So please keep this in mind. Now, just in terms of my own group, I think my general feedback would be that the really well-made models and the models that started to find things in the object or in the process of making the object, the ones that came up with really amazing models did really well. In some senses, that kind of overrode lacking in the other two bits. So if you didn't do too well in the abstraction part, but you had an amazing model, we were quite happy to see that as well. What I would say also is that abstraction is not representation, and it is also not metaphor. Okay, so we're not looking for things to represent something. We're looking for an inherent nature in the object that we choose, or the theme that we choose, to be pulled out in a physical model. All right. The other thing is that you're not limited in terms of the materials that you use, so you can use any material you want. So please feel free to explore. There's quite an amazing welded one here. There was another one that was made out of nothing but little bits of timber dowel. There was another one that was made out of thread. So feel free to go and use different kinds of materials. There was even one made out of an old pajama pant leg. So please, this is just about getting your abstract idea across. All right, but I'd like to congratulate you all for being here and putting up a model, and I thought it was all very good. So congratulations. So what we'll do now is I'll get each of the tutors to come up and say a few words, and then after that I will launch the next theme for the next exercise, and then we'll throw the floor open for questions from you guys. Okay, so who'd like to go next?
Well, we'll go.
Okay.
Only because we did all ours together, so we probably had one fairly strong message. The first was just we wanted to commend the students, because every single student that handed something in, it was of good quality. I don't think there were any that we could see straight away that no effort was put into it or minimal effort was put in. So I think we were appreciative of the fact that we know that every single person put in effort for the past week. And then the overriding thing, which Rob will expand on, that we noticed, was that students that came with one very strong, almost singular idea often were more successful in their abstraction than students who tried to represent too many ideas within one form. So
yeah, it's about getting, I guess, one essence or one idea or one concept with that you can find within the plant or the structure itself, and then being able to rebuild that or represent that outside of that system of the plant itself, and having everything speak to that. So the material you choose and how you use the materials and how the materials interact and your thought process of the mechanism of abstraction itself all need to speak that one singular plane of thought. So trying not to sort of confuse yourself by trying to attend to so many different aspects and so many different mechanics and so many different materials, you can become lost in that, and that's where some sort of difficulties arise in the process of abstraction and the formation of your model itself.
Yeah.
So it's all about getting that one single idea across and keeping it in sync with every other decision that you're making to really drive home the strength, that one thought, that one essence that you're able to get out of the plant. So you can represent that without referencing back to anything physical anymore. Whether that's texture or whether that's organization of geometry, it's all got to speak that one thing.
Yeah, so ours was do one thing and do it well, and that's pretty much.
And I might just add, there were some in my group for whom that one thing included two components. So some people were looking at the contrast between light and dark, between fine and solid, and so the relationship was the one thing. So remember that one thing is one idea rather than only just one aspect.
No, that's right. No, that's true. I think we're talking about, we had students who might have just looked at the leaf system as a type of screen. And so then they just focused on the notion of screen, they weren't then trying to focus also on the notion of how things hung or how things were in a radial organisation. No, it was just about screen. And with that was lightness and transparency, but it was all about that one notion. So I think we're just saying do one notion. Don't try and do how it sucks water up, how its leaves hang, how it blossoms, what it, just
in the same
one
model.
thing. Yeah. Cool.
I think I would definitely like to commend both Jack and my group for cooperating with us, sticking to the time. Congratulations, guys, for that. Two, congratulations for all of you to come with a model. And what I really appreciate is you were all prepared to present your models today. So kudos to you for that. It's again coming back to the same thing. The models which were successful were the ones which were about one idea, or within that idea looking at different 2 or 3 characteristics but sticking to that one idea and not really translating it but taking it to the next level. We have quite a few models which have different materials, but you've handled it very well because you've stuck to that single idea. Okay? So, well done, and we are really excited to see what you'll do next week.
Well done, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. Especially for me, I quite enjoy doing this design studio because every single day, what I do actually in the real world architecture, it's not this fun. Yeah, so it's more serious, and you have a lot of constraints. So exploring idea is quite limited. So you guys here, being in this studio, you have freedom to actually explore and then try out. Yeah, and what I like about the studio is that it's one single idea, but then the interpretation is different. So if you have one idea, but then interpreted by 10 people, you got the 10 different actual options come out. And that's brilliant. It's got a lot of options here. So while you're working in a studio, why don't you just talk to each other and then share your ideas? Just not taking to yours and then hiding to yours. Yeah, just share the ideas together. So that actually gives the perspective of wider exploration for your future architectural, language and experimentation. So well done, and thank you for extra effort and then putting things together in 1 week.
Very good, thank you everybody. So I think that's fairly clear in terms of the general feedback that you've gotten. What I would also say is that just to talk a bit more about what Jack mentioned was really it's a process of experimentation. So don't feel like you need to stick to one thing. If you do something and then it doesn't quite work out, feel free to try another way of achieving it. I think the people who actually had a few different versions and learned from those versions moving forward did really well. And then also what you can see around you today from all your classmates is how other people achieve the same kinds of things that you achieve. Yeah, so it's a good idea just to have a look at it and think about how other people have done it, the successes, the failures, and so on and so forth. Okay, so now we come to the final part, which is to introduce exercise 1B. Now, exercise 1B will be exactly the same as exercise 1A in terms of time, so it will be due next Tuesday. I think we've demonstrated today that we can get everything done in the time and have a little bit of time left over for this, so that's great. And it will be the same model extremity, so 150 by 150 on the bottom and then 300 high. And the same goes that you can use any material that you like that is made by hand. The only limitation is that you can't use any laser cutting. But welding is fine, sewing is fine, knitting is fine, as is using paper and glue and what have you. Okay, so the theme for 1B is going to be non-urban settlement. Okay, so what we've gone is from a piece of flora, which is quite small, to a very big idea. Now I will draw your attention to the two parts of the name, which is non-urban firstly, and settlement next. So non-urban settlement, and the third one in the Canberra district. Okay, so around us. So when we talk about non-urban, we're not talking about the city, we're not talking about the suburbs, we're really talking about the areas outside of that. So we're talking about rural areas, we're talking about agricultural areas, we're talking about national park areas, about the recreational areas, and so on and so forth. But don't forget that that's just not urban. We've got to bring it together with settlement. So settlement is anything that has been touched and changed by humans, if you like. All right. So we are talking about farms. We're talking about energy facilities. We're talking about agriculture. We're talking about livestock. We're talking about infrastructure. We're talking about how the natural environment has been cultivated, if you like, has been changed by the hand of man. Okay, so obviously, because this is not an exercise about representation, we don't want you to be giving us models of farmhouses, because that would just be about settlement. What we want is really the relationship between forms of settlement, all the various many forms of settlement, and the non-urban landscape in the ACT district. So I would go as far as the ski fields in terms of non-urban settlement. But remember that your model you need to choose carefully what it is that you're going to abstract and model, because obviously you're not going to be able to put a whole landscape in one-to-one into a small model like that. So there's going to be lots of very interesting scalar shifts, right? And then for that, that's one part of the exercise. Of course, the second part is how well the model is made, and the third part is how you deal with the shape that is required, with the envelope that is required. So this is done on purpose, that the envelope is really fighting against most of the themes of non-urban settlement, which you imagine are kind of horizontal, but not necessarily. Okay, are there any questions? While you think of a question, I might also say that I'll be available on Friday afternoon for any of you who want to show me stuff or talk through ideas and so on and so forth. Yes, just send me an email to let me know that you're coming in, and then I'll give you a time in which to come in. And what we did on Friday, which worked quite well, was to work as much as a bit of a small studio, so a few students together, because a lot of you had common questions. Okay. Okay, very good. So any questions on this? Yeah. Remember that outside of class time, I'm your main contact. There may be other people about, but I'm the one who'll be here to talk to you if you need to. So any comments from you all about today's exercise? No? I think the fact that you got all your models up meant that you did really well, and I think we should call it a day. So just a reminder, please leave your models here until 1:30. We're just going to have a little quick walk around to have a look what each different group is doing, and pick up your models and take them home at 1:30, and we'll see you all next Tuesday. Thanks everybody.